People don't fear the moment you get angry. They fear the moment you stop reacting. Because anger still means you care. Silence means you're done. And I know you didn't become cold overnight. It took years of being misunderstood, underestimated, taken for granted. Years of giving love like it was oxygen, while they treated you like you were disposable. They thought you were harmless, a soft heart, a predictable soul, someone who would take the hit and still show up the next morning with forgiveness in your hands. But I want you to hear me carefully. Your softness was never the problem. Their arrogance was. For the longest time, you let things slide. You let people walk through your life like it was a hallway and not a home. You kept choosing peace, even when it cost you pieces of yourself. And they mistook that for weakness. But here's the part they never understood. Every silent man has a breaking point. Not loud, not violent, but final. You reached that point quietly, didn't you? You didn't scream. You didn't fight. You didn't demand explanations or closure. You just stopped caring. And that is the moment your evolution began. The shift, when a good man turns cold. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched someone play games with your kindness, thinking you didn't notice their lies, their patterns, their manipulations? They really believed you were naive. They thought your loyalty meant blindness. And the whole time, you were studying them, not reacting, just taking notes. That's the dangerous thing about a man with patience. He sees everything, but says nothing until it's time to act. And your time came, not with rage, but with realization. The realization that people only treat you the way you allow. And you finally stopped allowing disrespect. That's the moment your softness turned into steel. Your silence sharpened into a weapon. Your presence became something people could no longer reach without permission. You didn't become heartless. You simply stopped negotiating with people who benefited from your pain. When you went quiet, everything changed. You see, they expected drama when they hurt you. They expected arguments, accusations, emotional breakdowns. What they never prepared for was calm. That deadly calm a man carries when he is done explaining himself. That calm is the moment you become untouchable. Because when a man stops defending his character, his absence becomes the truth no one can argue with. They didn't expect that from you. They didn't expect you to detach so completely. They were so sure you'd chase, because you always did. Until one day, you didn't. And that silence became the mirror they were terrified to look into. The birth of the versions they never saw coming. Every person who underestimated you had a picture in their mind of who they thought you were. Soft, forgiving, emotional, easily manipulated. So imagine their shock when the same heart they played with froze solid, when the man who used to overthink became the man who doesn't even respond, when the man who used to check on them became the man who doesn't look back, when the man who used to give second chances became the man who gives silence. Something inside you didn't break. It evolved. You walked away not wounded, but awakened. You stopped craving validation. You stopped explaining your worth. You stopped fighting for people who wouldn't fight for you. And that version of you, that cold, composed, emotionally disciplined version, that's the version they never expected you to grow into. You didn't become a villain. You became the boundary they never thought you had. The masculine rebuild, stone by stone, in silence. Let me tell you this with full honesty. The strongest version of a man is forged in silence. Not in noise, not in arguments, not in revenge. In silence. That's where you learn to rebuild. That's where you learned to depend on yourself. That's where you discovered the difference between loneliness and peace. People think healing is loud. Cry, talk, explain, beg. But the masculine healing you stepped into, it's quiet. It's disciplined. It's almost scary. Because while they thought you were hiding, you were sharpening. While they assumed you were broken, you were upgrading. While they believed they were unforgettable, you are forgetting them slowly, completely, intentionally. Your comeback wasn't explosive. It was strategic. You didn't return to prove anything to them. You returned to prove everything to yourself. The return, cold, clear, unreachable. And when you finally came back into the world, you didn't come back as the old you. You came back with standards, with silence, with a heart that opens only to those who earn it. They tried to come back, didn't they? With apologies, with excuses, with "I miss who you used to be." But what they failed to understand is simple. The version of you they miss no longer exists. You buried him, not out of hate, but out of growth. And the coldness they feel from you today, that isn't revenge. That's justice. They created that version of you. They fed the fire, pushed the limits, broke the boundaries. Now they're shocked the flames finally burned them. Your silence was the loudest lesson they ever learned. People think consequences are always loud. But the most powerful ones are quiet. You didn't block them out of anger. You blocked them out of self-respect. You didn't stop caring overnight. You stopped caring the moment you realized you deserved better. You didn't cut them off because you're cold. You cut them off because they showed you who they were. And once a man sees the truth, he doesn't unsee it. That's why they fear you now. Not because you became dark, but because you finally became unreachable. And the silence you carry today, it's not emptiness. It is discipline. It is self-respect. It is masculine power. Final message. Your evolution is not a phase. It's permanent. Let me make this clear before you go. You didn't transform because you are weak. You transformed because you were done. Done explaining. Done forgiving. Done shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. This version of you, the calm, cold, focused, emotionally disciplined version, isn't temporary. It's permanent. You outgrew the spaces that kept you small. You walked away from people who mistook your heart for a toy. You rebuilt your life in silence. And now, you stand stronger than ever. Not as a villain, not as a victim, but as a man who learned the most powerful lesson in life. Your peace is worth more than any relationship. Your silence is worth more than any argument. And your evolution is the revenge they never saw coming.